Welcome to Forum Friday. On Forum Fridays, I bring Mark on to talk about what's going on in the forums. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Lynn. How are you doing?
Doing good. A little
What have you
busy
been up to lately?
baking up stuff.
Oh, sorry. What did you say?
A little busy baking up stuff this week.
Oh, yeah. What have you been up to? What have you been baking?
Ooh, glad you asked. Cupcake.
Oh, that's awesome. Cupcakes.
Shelf-stable cupcakes, which I'm going to run a shelf life test on. I don't know if these are going to last for a week or not. That's my hopes. And it's gluten-free and vegan.
Okay.
So I pretty much took the gluten-free baking mix from Leland Baking. And instead of eggs, I use maple fiber.
Oh, nice.
And came out really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the frosting, instead of cream, I used oil with Covamax. So
Okay.
it's shelf stable and it will last some time in the heat, actually, in the summer heat. So I'm not going to refrigerate this. I'm just going to let them sit in a regular package and see how they age for the next 7 days. One has Sourmate,
Okay.
which is from J&K Ingredients,
Mhm.
and the other one is a control.
Okay.
So the Sourmate is in both the frosting and the cake. And I also added, what is this? Let me see. What did I add in here? I added chocolate coconut flavor
Mm-hmm.
from Zoom Essence.
Oh, yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So here goes.
Oh.
I also put in toasted coconut in the frosting with
very
white
nice.
chocolate.
Mhm.
I'm sorry you can't have any of this. It tastes so good. It does not taste like gluten-free.
Oh, that's good. And how does the Sourmate get labeled? Is that a clean label item?
Sorry. I mean to eat my mouth open. It is labeled as natural flavoring.
Oh, wow.
Because it's from the rowan berries.
Okay.
So it's a natural product. And if you need more information, please go ahead and contact J&K Ingredients. They're on our showcase.
Very good. Yep. That's cool.
I'm eating on live stream, so there might be chocolate on my teeth. So excuse me.
You look good.
So how about you, Mark? What's going on over at the forums?
We've had some new members join from Nigeria. We have a gentleman by the name of Jefferson, who's been a baker for some time, and he is happy to join us in discovering the forum, and we're happy to have him join us. And we have a lady named Deborah, who is originally an accountant by background and is embarking on starting her own commercial bakery.
I love it.
So that is sort of the new, some of the new membership activity who have not been too shy to speak up. At least we've had a few dozen other new members join. We're a little over 2,000 now total members.
That's amazing.
And there's been an interesting inquiry. We are all things.
Mark, hang on before we carry on. When we started this membership thing, and when I asked you to join us as a community forum manager, I never thought that we'll get past 300. When we got past 400, we're like, well, that's no way we'll get past 500. And the platform was really built out only for 300 to 500 people, right? So when we broke a couple of things, we decided to invest more money into changing the platform and in hopes that we can accommodate 1,000 people, right? So I don't know where this is going to go. And if it go past 2000 and it still functions, well, I think we invested good money in that.
Yeah. Well, it's I guess I'll call it the good and the bad, so to speak, at the same time, is that one of the things that helps us is that it is very much a global membership. So it is across all the different time zones. So we're not going to get 2,000 people trying to log on all at once. That's
Right.
the thing, right?
I know.
And some have still been shy. There's people still, kind of cruising around and just checking things out. So activity is just growing very slowly. Sometimes we have a week where there's like 8 or 10 posts and conversations taking place, and then sometimes we have a week where there's only 2. And that's the nature of message boards. It's ebb and flow, and it's good that we have a nice ebb and flow going on so that it doesn't get out of control. And we'll have to see how we grow with it. To your point, so it's nice to have those numbers, and I'm looking forward to seeing more contribution, because I'm sure we're helping answer a lot of questions for a lot of people, and hopefully answering those questions brings them to new questions that they can bring to us. And that's always my hope, that in that way we help learn from each other all the time. And speaking of that,
and you know what, I just wanted to point out, a lot of people tend to want to segment the baking industry, but I think what Bakerpedia has successfully shown is everybody experiences technical problems, whether you're a startup or you're running at 1,000 pounds an hour. The science is still the same. The technical problems are still very similar. And that's why, I want to encourage everyone out there. Your problem is not unique, and someone across the world is going to have the same problem as you and can help you solve your problem. Yep. So it's better for you to come on the forums and ask those questions, instead of waiting for me or Mark or Richard to answer them. The community can really help you.
Yeah, and if they, as we've seen from the seminar, Joanna and I are still playing catch up with that, is that there were so many questions we didn't have time to answer.
I know.
And we already ran a half hour over. I mean, it's so don't leave all the questions to the seminar.
Don't.
So we get to them as quick as we can.
We thought we'll just, like last week, we thought we'll just have like barely an hour, but we lasted like 90 minutes, and we still had probably about 10 or 15 questions left.
Yep.
So you guys gotta come on more often to the forum.
It's been great, and with that, one of the things is that, as we talk, as you mentioned it's not just baked goods from the aspect of bread or cakes. We have a whole other category, and we get lots of interesting things going on there. Last week we talked about the cake tin, cake in a tin. And so this week we have an inquiry by Rich, who is producing dog biscuits, and he wants to improve the shelf life in the dog biscuits and using ascorbic acid. Now, that may not be the ideal approach, but ascorbic acid is used as a preservative to lower pH. And it's just GMP. They can put as much as he wants. Of course, the thing about with dogs is I got to work a little bit with animal nutrition in the past, and is that I learned that dogs can taste sweet. So since they can taste sweet, they don't like sour. So if you put too much ascorbic, they won't like it. It'll taste bitter to them. And so we have to kind of find the balance. And I think the other thing I'm recommending to Rich is to look at water activity.
Absolutely.
And bake it out as much as you can. And
once you bake it out, you do not need preservatives.
Exactly. And if he needs it to be a soft cookie, just use glycerin. Glycerin is okay for dogs. You can put lots of that in. It doesn't bother them. Baz,
because you have a dog yourself, and you're taking
and I've been Well, as you know, our dog has a
I
heart
saw the
condition,
treats that you made for your dog. I'm like, oh, come on, the human here doesn't even get those kind of treats.
yeah. So yeah, I'm
What did
I'm
you
I'm
make last
baking
week?
special treats for my dog to help him take all his pills because
Yeah. What
we've
did you
got.
make, really?
Pardon me?
What did you make?
I
saw
made a whole grain peanut butter and carrot cookie for him.
Oh, wow.
And so there's a little bit of sugar obviously in the peanut butter. The simple sugars in the carrot are okay. They don't hurt his diabetes or things like that. And he needs more grains as part of the. There's been studies that show that as much as we as humans have liked going towards the grain-free diet for dogs, it's not good for all dogs. There's been studies that show that this is part of what causes heart enlargement with them, and that's what our dog is dealing with. And so we've been very successful over the past 3 weeks in getting his heart size reducing a little bit. He's much more lively now. And it's fun to make, and it's good for him. And because we have pills that we have to give him about 4 times a day, and he's been very cooperative. But you know, dogs. There he is talking. He wants to butt in. But dogs, you know, if you stick that pill inside a cookie. They just, you know, choose
really?
and it's gone, right? So,
man, people should be manufacturing cookies like that.
Yeah, maybe we should try. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go, right?
So yeah, I make him a little cookie in that sense, and mine I just keep them refrigerated because I'm just making them here at home. But if I were to produce that cookie, I would dry out the carrots and I would then add some glycerin as the humectant to keep them soft.
Would you add things like shortening or lard in there?
Yes, you can. There's a fair bit of fat in the peanut butter already.
Oh, got it.
And so it is. If you want to use in terms of shelf stable and things like that, you want to use a fat that's high in saturates for stability. Yes, and things like, or as I mentioned, glycerin, or things that will trap water if you want it to stay soft. If you don't need it to be soft, if you want a crunchy biscuit, as we talked about earlier, dry it out. Get the water activity below 0.65, and you're golden. Then grow. Right?
Yeah, we need to preach that, Mark. That's like free. Just lower down the activity. You don't need to. It doesn't cost you.
Yeah, and I mean,
no ingredients, no special packaging. Just bake out all the water, or don't add it in the first place. You know.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly, and that's why I like in using carrots, because the carrots with the fiber and that is good for companion animals just like us. Is that either use a dry dehydrated carrot so you don't have all the water, or squeeze the water out. You can dry it out. Like in small quantity at home, if I wanted to dry it out more, I would just put it in cheesecloth and then just twist it and squeeze all the water out, right? That way you don't have to bake it out. It's less energy use that way too, if in terms of looking at your energy use and things like that. So there's a lot of different aspects to look at, and so hopefully we can be helpful to Rich with his needs for adding preservative or preserving his cookies. I gave him the calculations too on how to calculate the 90 parts per million that is considered the GMP, and that's doesn't mean it's illegal if you go over that, but it's usually just considered excess. I have seen even some sweet dough type recipes that use 120 parts per million, but it's to create a particular type of reaction for the oxidation that you're looking for there. And it's very out of the norm. Most of the time, what you see is 30 to 60. That's basically what we most commonly see.
Correct, but also, correct me if I'm wrong, but when someone tries to manipulate the pH, they usually use other acidulants like fumaric, malic, citric, right? Yeah,
and then something like this, like a biscuit, something like even just a leavening acid like sodium diacetate would be helpful.
Okay.
if he's trying to, if his biscuit has, and I haven't asked for the formula or anything, but if he has some sort of leavening in there, well, just take the baking powder out, put soda in, and put in some high acidity leveling, so that you just go way over and drop the pH down to like 4.3 or something like that, and then you're in much better position as from a preservative too, that respect.
That's true. That's true. And if all else fails, use calcium propionate.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's the other one. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the all-purpose.
That's like the magic button.
Yeah,
and
it's
calcium propionate page on Bakerpedia.
Yeah, and I provided a link in that conversation too to the Code of Federal Regulations, the ECFR now. It's become much easier to work your way through, but you kind of do have to go step by step in understanding which title you're looking for, right? But it's a lot easier than it is before, and so so the FDA is listening to their surveys and stuff and trying to improve things there. And it's always a handy tool because when in doubt, skim through the Code of Federal Regulations. If it's not mentioned there, basically means you can't do it. So it's,
I think a lot of people miss that aspect, right? And I see this mistake by a lot of food startups out there, because a lot of the founders, they are not food scientists, right? And they start out with a radical, idea that most food scientists can't come up with, right? So that's why you have startups. It's like innovation.
Oh yeah,
but without
they complement each other, absolutely.
Yeah, but without the training, right? And that's why our resource at Bakerpedia always has that FDA regulation column. If something that you're interested in using and you don't know its legal status, go look it up on bakerpedia.com.
Yep.
And it should be able to tell you whether you can use that particular ingredient in the food. How about pet products, Mark? Does FDA cover pet products as well? Or
yes. I wasn't sure, so I checked, and they actually cover pet products, and so the pet food, as far as dogs and cats, that falls under FDA. Animal feed falls under the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, as does the regulation of all, things like beef, chicken, pork, and all that. That's all under USDA. That's separate. And so there isn't any direct crossover or linkage or stuff like that. It's basically there is some information under FDA, some general stuff as far as labeling for some of the animal products, but it refers to USDA. And so USDA is the regulating body on that. And they are quite strict. Our protein group, when I worked at ADM, the soy protein group, they worked a lot with meat processors and things like that. And so it was kind of in some ways nice for a nosy person who's curious like me, because I had the meat scientists were only like 3 desks away from me. And so I could hear some of their conversations and could ask them questions. And we were all very collaborative group. So it was interesting to learn a lot of those different things. And like when they're working on surimi and stuff like that, what all that has to meet. So cool. But yeah, all the meat things is USDA, all the pet food is FDA. So pet food, human food, drugs, and cosmetics. So it's kind of like the stuff that humans eat and is close to humans, FDA regulates it. The things that animals eat, meaning commodity animals, that's handled by the agriculture group, the USDA. Right?
Awesome. Thanks for the tip today.
Yep. Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Is there anything else that's happening?
No, just one quick comment. As we mentioned, the seminar, the Shelf Life Extension Seminar for Breads. In that seminar, we talked about the onion bread that I made for the seminar with Top Taste crispy onions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I posted that formula in the thread under bread processes, and posted information there to say that as I post all of the outstanding questions, they will have an addendum to the topic saying that it's from the seminar. And I'm taking pictures of the bread on a daily basis as the control starts to go moldy. And we'll put that together in sort of similar to like a time-lapse video, so that I will post that when it's ready, so we can see how the control without any treatment, how it changes over time, and how the So Fresh doesn't change over time, and how long it's going to take till some mold might show up there. Right.
Right.
I want to go at least 3 weeks. We're coming up on 3 weeks next week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's what I want to try with these too. Because did I mention that the frosting is heat stable?
Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
You can bring it out in the 90-degree heat and it still won't melt.
and it doesn't have any waxy taste, you said, too.
No. Did I send you some? Did I send you some alpha dextrins?
No, not yet. No.
Wow, it's coming your way. You got to try this. This is
looking forward to it. Yeah,
really phenomenal.
Great so much in the warm climate countries, like in South Asia, Malaysia, all these areas where they have a craving for these sweets, but they're don't enjoy the waxy stuff, and so
the waxy stuff is gross.
Yeah. And
all right, Mark. Thank you for coming on today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.